I have given a name to my pain. The Batman.
Always waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill the Bat of Gotham.
You don't really think you'll win, do you? I'm Batman.
Hey now, welcome to episode Emmett Smith, Double Deuce, 22.
Episode Emmett Smith.
Yes.
You told me off camera that you had a surprise.
Well, that's not the surprise. Just hold on.
Well, I like that surprise.
Okay, of the Batman on Film vlog, I am your host, even though I may let Rick take over. You hear my voice, Rick? This frickin', I don't know what it's allergies, man, and it's almost summer, and I made it through like in March when all the green stuff was everywhere, you know, the yellow greens. Pollen was everywhere without blinking an eye. And the last couple of weeks, dude, I don't know what's in the air, but it's kicking my ass. You
know what's kicking your ass?
What?
Age.
No, dude. I get better with age.
Don't blame it on the pollen, dude.
I get better with age, my brother. All right, let's see. Episode 22, the Batman on Film vlog. I'm Bill Ramey. I don't know if I even said that. Lost my train of thought. I founded this here website, which is about to be 20 years old next week, Rick. Next week is the official 20th anniversary of Batman on Film. And, of course, I said Rick. I'm joined today, usually, as always, for the most part, by the great Rick Shew. Rick, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man.
Sound like I'm going through puberty here. Oh my gosh. Anyway, all right. I got a game I stole from Sammy Hagar. If you watch Rock and Roll Road Trip, it's called This or That. You ready?
It's called This or That?
This or That.
And I'm participating in this game?
I'm asking you the questions, and then next time it'll be your turn to ask me.
Okay.
You ready? Tex-Mex or Cajun?
Tex-Mex.
The Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
The Doors.
The Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
I'll have to say the Stones.
Led Zeppelin or Black Sabbath?
Zeppelin.
Coke or Dr. Pepper?
I don't really drink sodas, but if I'm going to have either one, I'll have a Coke. So I'll drink an occasional whiskey and Coke.
Queso or salsa?
Queso.
Beer or whiskey?
Man, that's too nuanced for me. That's not fair. Because you know how I drink. I have a beer and a whiskey side by side.
Okay, I know.
I shoot whiskey and drink beer. They're like mutually inclusive. I'll say beer because I can drink beer casually.
Batman or Star Wars?
Batman.
The Dark Knight or The Empire Strikes Back?
The Dark Knight.
Last one. Batman Returns or Batman and Robin?
Oh, that one's really hard because they're both awful, but they're awful in different ways. I'm going to say Batman Returns.
Okay.
Because at least with Batman Returns, I love almost everything with Michelle Pfeiffer.
All right.
And Batman and Robin, I like the one scene with Bruce and Alfred.
There you go. There's our first edition of This or That on the Batman on Film vlog.
Okay.
With me asking the questions and Rick answering. Those are some good ones, huh?
Those are some good ones. I like how you threw in the best Star Wars movie in with, as much as I love Star Wars, it's a distant second to my love.
You know, when I was on the set of The Dark Knight, I asked Emma Thomas if The Dark Knight was going to be there, Empire Strikes Back, and she told me no. It kind of was when it ended up, huh? When it was all said and done.
I think that's fair to say.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right, episode 22 of the Batman on Film vlog. We got a couple of topics here today. We're trying to knock this out in a half hour-ish. If you like what we do here at Batman on Film, you can contribute via and become a patron. Patreon.com/Batman on Film. And of course, even though this is a vlog, I end up pulling the audio and it becomes a podcast. And of course, Batman on Film is part of the Batman Podcast Network. Also the host of the Batman Podcast Network, and you can find out all the shows or listen to all the shows that are a part of the network at BatmanPodcastNetwork.com. And if you have a show, any kind of podcast, and really it has to be a Batman podcast, but if you talk Batman on occasion, Batman movies, and you want to be a part of the podcast network, just email me at Jett at BatmanOnFilm.com, and we'll hook you up. All right. Rick, let's talk some Batman. This is Batman-centric from now on. Let's talk about White Knight, because since issue number 8 came out a couple of weeks ago, first week of May, right? Am I right? Was it the 4th?
Yes.
Somewhere around there.
It was at least, yeah.
And concluded that deal. Did you get a chance to read 8?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Read it twice.
All right. Now you didn't. You read the reviewing copy I sent you. But you've collected them all. You had all of them up through 8, right?
I have all of them up. I have 1 through 7 here at the house, and 8 was the only one I read online.
Are they anywhere near you so you can show or not?
They should be. Let's see here. I have here. Okay.
The only reason I did that is just I
7.
want people to know what we're talking about here.
5. 6, this one. Yeah. So yeah. They're all in here.
Okay, let's talk about it overall, and then we'll get to how it concluded in number 8. I think it is one of the I think it's going to go down as one of the great Batman graphic novels. I think it's up there with Dark Knight Returns. And I really do, and that's not hyperbole. I thought it was fantastic overall. I can't wait to read the collected edition. I've already ordered it on Amazon. It comes out in September, and at that point, we'll get together, we'll convene, and we'll do a podcast on the whole series. But what did you think, Rick? I know we've been praising it here on these vlogs, and really never talked about it in any kind of depth. We talked about the premise. We didn't want to spoil anything. So, spoiler alert. We may talk a little spoilers. So, if you have not read, you may want to jump forward in this vlog and miss out. But go ahead.
Dude, if you love Batman and all its mediums, I mean, this is a series for you. You know what I mean? I love how there's elements. Just for instance, just the Joker being Jack Napier. Or the fact that in issue 7 or 8, you see a lot of different types of Batmobiles. And and there's even somebody's, I gave them the Tumbler because they deserve it. And you're going, they even said the Tumbler. Then you see the 66 car. Yeah. It's just little things like that. It's just neat stuff. There's some there's in one of the issues, there's some newspaper clippings that look like they were also out of Batman 89. And there's even some Dark Knight Rises stuff in there, in my view, that's subtle with Alfred, right? Yeah. There's it just turns so much of, like, when I think about Batman being, the word vigilante sometimes is a little bit misused, but in essence, he is somewhat lawless. I mean, he has his parameters, right? But if he existed in the real world, just like Nolan explored, he is lawless. He's not a sanctioned police officer or anything like that. No, not like he was in the 60s TV series. But right. He's relatively lawless, and they took that and they turned that on its head and said, not only is he lawless, but he is dangerous, and he's dangerous to the law. Yeah. And I like how also it was this angle of, hey man, if he really cared about saving lives and really cared about the cops, he would have been feeding us his technology. And you sit there and you start, I mean, the way that Jack Napier, as he heals himself and becomes a normal person, and he's on all these medications and whatnot, and then he gets elected as city councilman, and you start listening to some of his speeches or reading some of his speeches, and you can hear him in your head, and you're going, man, he's making sense. Why hasn't
he wasn't wrong?
He wasn't wrong? Why?
It was a great
Why
Like you
hasn't
said,
Bruce
yeah.
given some of his technology to the police?
Yeah.
I mean, just he could. How many lives could he have saved by doing so?
Yeah.
And you, it really starts to mess with your head a little bit.
Yeah, it does. I thought at the
and-
beginning. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I was gonna say, and then there's an arc with Batman. Who,
Yes.
This is kind of spoiler. Who essentially acknowledges that at the end to Gordon.
Yeah.
You know, Jack was so in a weird way. The dichotomy between the Batman and Joker is, I mean, they are my two favorite opposing characters in fiction, and in this movie, the Joker ultimately makes Batman better, and it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In essence, he does, and it's wild.
I thought that I would.
So wild.
You know, as someone who prefers the Joker to be a complete mystery, you don't know who he is. Like, you know, he just is, as Chris Nolan would say, or said. I kind of at the beginning I'm going, they're making him Jack Napier. Is it just a nod to, you know, Batman '89? Why does it? But it has to be like, I mean, he could have been Jack Smith for all it mattered. The Napier thing was a cool nod, but he had to be someone in this story. You know what I'm saying?
It would have been a radically different story if he wasn't.
He had to be someone, and the whole thing with the two Harleys and how that worked out, and I won't spoil that because it's a really hell of a twist, and
he takes an obsessed hostage and makes her a Harley.
Yes.
And then she becomes the, how do they refer to her, the Neo Joker.
Yes.
And then she ends up manipulating everything, and it's just
And
it's awesome.
Sean Murphy wrote and did the art for this, so props to him. He works in Batman's Rogues Gallery, and they are very important to the story, but they never overwhelm. You know what I'm saying?
No,
There's not it's just not just bringing all these villains just for the hell of it. You know, they're there for a reason. And
honestly, Clayface and Mad Hatter are more integral to the plot than even, like, let's say, Two-Face and the Penguin are.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yeah,
and, you're right. You know, and so that's also pretty cool.
Mr. Freeze, they make Mr. Freeze. This take on Mr. Freeze.
That whole thing with Mr. Freeze, with his father and Thomas Wayne and the underground tunnel, and that stuff is just to
one of the
to curtail U.S. laws. They work with the Germans. Anyway, it's
one of the best depictions of Mr. Freeze I've ever seen. It takes a lot from Batman the Animated Series, but it's a completely different. They've thrown in some other stuff it's never been done before with Mr. Freeze.
And I love the way you just said that too. That it takes from the animated series. It takes from the WB, live action films. Practically all of them, in a sense. It takes from comics. It takes
from Batman. Yeah, the animated series. It takes from the movies, like you said, the comic books. Fantastic.
It's fantastic, and I love what they do with Dick and Barbara too.
Yeah,
all that stuff is great. And then the stuff with Alfred is strong.
There's a thing about Robin. I won't spoil that. We won't. But there's a thing about Robin.
Well, let's not get into. Let's talk about one thing for a second, because I don't think it's spoiler because it's quite public. But it is interesting how Sean makes Jason Todd the original Robin. And I guess Sean went publicly on Twitter saying he just wasn't sure of the continuity, and that was sort of by accident. Is that have you read that?
I don't know, but
I don't know. And
if that was the case, I was about to come up with this. I had an idea about that. It was like, okay,
I think it suits the story because you don't want to not make
you want Dick Grayson in this story,
and you want him to be Nightwing.
Yeah,
and you want,
and there needs to be a dead Robin. You know what I'm saying?
Or Robin that ran away.
There needs to be a Robin who's MIA and believed to be.
That's something that we can discuss in the podcast.
Yeah.
Is he dead or not?
To me, you have to do it that way. It had to be Jason to be first. Oh, there's a hell of a twist with that. What, guys? Anyway,
it's great.
Let's talk about 8 real quick without too many spoilers. I thought it ended fantastic. I think, I don't know, I may be speaking out of place. I think Justin said it was a little anticlimactic. Where do you sit on that?
Yeah, he said it.
If I'm wrong, Justin, I'm sorry. So
no. He said that he didn't think it quite landed for him, but I don't know if that's evolved. I don't know if he's read it again. I think it was great. I didn't feel that way at all.
No,
I mean, and I love the last scene. And I won't spill. I want to talk about that because
I do too. It's something that.
But when it happens, I'm looking at it, and I'll be honest with you, for a split second, I had to flip through the pages and confirm some artwork because I was going, surely he's not. Okay, no, okay, cool. Anyway, so that was my ambiguous reaction to it. But if you've read it, you may know what I'm talking about. If not, but we're going to talk about it more in the podcast when we can just speak freely about it. But it's a really awesome ending.
Where do you put it? Is it up there? Is it up there with the best graphic novels?
It's up there with the best, and
yeah.
And I think we're going to look back on this in 20 years and still be reading it and talking about it.
It's a very rereadable. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Story. You know, I've read each issue 2 or 3 times. So, you know, that's 24 readings.
And I'll just pick up issue 4 and read it, too.
Yes.
That's another thing. They stand on their own as well.
They stand on their own. They tease, they tease what's coming. There are cliffhangers, and you want to get to the next issue. What was great about it is that it was all on time. The last issue was pushed back 1 week. That was it. The rest were on time every month. You know, that was, I really liked Dark Knight 3, but the problem with that was, God, they got to where, you were going months in between.
Months,
So, anyway, yeah, I'm with you. I rank it as one of the all-time best. I like it better than a lot of. Dare I say, I liked it better than The Long Halloween. I mean, it's up there, man. It's up there for me. It's up there with Year One and Dark Knight Returns. It's up there. Definitely.
And one of the reasons I always talk about why I love The Killing Joke is that it's just sort of a quintessential Joker badassery story. And in a lot of ways, this even sort of even surpasses that with said badassery, because it's making the Joker, by virtue of having him sort of struggling with his duality, but what he ultimately does in the film is accomplishes as both Jack and Joker is quite remarkable. And then also when you look back at some of the things that Joker was doing prior to the events that are unfolding, it's intense.
All right.
And I don't want to speak. I'll just say, like, the stuff that you kind of come across with Jason Todd and everything. It's intense.
Yes. Do me one favor before we move to the next topic. Move a little bit to your left, my good friend. There you go. Okay. All right. So Rick and I are on the same page. I guess it might have been for better radio if we disagreed, but I mean, it is what it is. You know, it's a great Batman story. Great Batman story. Read it. I would say now, if you have not read it, wait for the trade to come out. Wait for the collected edition to come out. It's only in 3 months? Wait in September. I know one dude on Twitter asked me when it was dropping. And I said September, and he said, "Oh hell, I couldn't wait. I went and I bought all 8, you know." And hey, you know, it's gonna be. My point is, it'll be a fun. It was fun to read it each month, but it'll also be fun to read it as one collected story.
Are they going to make an animated film out of this?
They should. The gist of the plot, the core plot element, could make for a live action film.
Yeah.
To me, I mean. You could just that, you know, what we talked about, is Batman to blame for all of this in Gotham? Is it really Batman who is the villain? You know, why hasn't Bruce Wayne, Batman, helped the police out with sharing his technology? I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do with it. Great stuff. And look, you want to see a sequel to this?
Yes, absolutely.
It's a lot like Dark Knight, the movie. You could go without having a sequel, but it surely sets up one. Is that a fair comparison?
Yeah, okay. The way it ends, you obviously want to see what transpires between certain people and how things unfold. But is it necessary? No. Could it do a disservice to it if it wasn't done properly? Yes.
I agree.
So,
yeah.
Yes, selfishly I want to, but if I really think about it, maybe it's best that we don't.
Yes.
That we don't.
All right. All right.
Anyway.
Let's talk.
What's next?
We've avoided talking about this for a while, and we kind of gotten where we're kind of like, really? I know that's how I feel about it. Ben Affleck. Batman. We're going to go here.
Wake me up. Kidding.
Okay. So, you know what we're going to talk about. Introduce this little short topic.
Well, I mean, we supposedly there's a rumor going around that he wants to now stay on as Batman. And now that Jake Gyllenhaal is in talks to potentially be in Spider-Man 2 Homecoming, that has sort of led to reinforcing the fact that Affleck could stay, since obviously he was kind of known as a front runner. And quite honestly, as far as the Jake thing goes, we don't know if he was ever a front runner.
No.
What we know is that Matt Reeves has met with him. We know that that Nolan was talking to him and almost cast him in Batman Begins. So we know there's a history with him in this franchise. And we, or at least I think you do as well, would have loved to have seen him or someone with that prowess, that acting ability that he has.
Yeah. Because
that's what I want to see in the role. I want to see that deep dive actor that just immerses himself in a character, and to play the next Bruce Wayne Batman. So, with all that being said, now we're back full circle, and supposedly Affleck wants to play Bruce Wayne Batman again. I don't know if that's true or not, but like you said on Twitter, even if it is true, maybe it's not his decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe it's not his decision.
But we are now May 2018. Justice League has more than ran its course. Why haven't we heard an official announcement? I mean, perhaps because there's not one yet, in terms of who's going to be Batman or who's not or what have you. But I am just sort of curious, are we going to go through the rest of this year without something more official? Or
maybe. I mean, I don't think until Matt Reeves says, I'm ready to go, and Warner Brothers officially greenlights this project, I don't think there's no point of having an announcement, and I don't think we're going to get one until then. I know a lot of people are going, well, they'll announce something at Comic-Con. Well, maybe not. And like, enough with these announcements of films that will never be, or directors who are no longer part of projects. Stop with that. I mean, look, you've got Aquaman coming out in December. You've got Wonder Woman 2 coming out next year, but about to start filming here shortly. You've got Shazam, which is finished filming, which will be out next year. There's
great poster.
3 films, yeah. 3 films. That's what they need to focus on at Comic-Con in San Diego this summer. And I would say, and really, what are you going to do with Wonder Woman 2? I mean, we know it's coming. There's no point of, look, focus on Shazam and Aquaman. That's what needs to be hyped up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, back to Affleck. Man, I look. I've wrote about it and said it's time to move on from this dude. I still believe that. If he came back, would I be upset? No. I liked him as Batman. I've been a Batman or Affleck supporter for years when it came to anything to do with Batman, directing, playing Batman, whatever. I'm just, look, and this is just more of this back and forth, him and hawing drama with this whole thing. Where do you stand? I mean, I think you are also vocal about it's time to move on. You're ready. You're kind of over all this.
Well, listen, if it was up to me, and I've said this, I would love to just kind of see Batman just reboot it, all of it. New Alfred, new car, new continuity, new everything. That's what I would prefer. Yeah. And that may still be ultimately what Matt Reeves does.
Yeah.
Right, because I don't know how much of this DCEU connective tissue is really going to be coming into play in these future films. But then again, Bill, who knows? They may triple down on all this, and all we can do is hope for the best if they do that. So I don't know. I just know that I don't think that there's a lot of excitement. And when I say this, I know Twitterverse will blow up. Twitterverse and us as fans are just such a small percentage of
Yes.
people that go to see these movies. I can't say that enough
Like
to
I
people.
say, it's a piss
Small.
in the ocean. I said it.
We're loud and we're passionate and we're important. I'm not taking that away from any of us. But the vast majority of people that go see these movies aren't us. They've never read a comic book. They've never watched the animated series. All they know is Batman and movies, and they think Batman's cool. And they see Ben Affleck, and they're like, "This again? Are we right?" You know, and it's just, and I know that's all very anecdotal, but I just don't feel any sort of, when I talk to people, they're just kind of over. They didn't like Justice League. Most people I know hated BVS. As far as the people outside of the BOF people that we talk to, I'm just like I'm talking about my wife, my buddy down the street, just casual moviegoers that just like to see these movies. They don't. So I don't know what they would have to gain from that. I don't know. I just feel like Matt Reeves would be better served if he could tell his story. Now, he may be able to tell his story in the confines of that continuity, and if he can, then that's great. The jury's still out on that. We'll see. I would just like, if Affleck is here to stay for a while, I just hope that all the drama that surrounds him can go away. And I really hope that the next project delivers, because we need that. We need to have an exciting Batman film again that we all love. And right now we just don't have it. It just, I
don't even know how much I can get excited if it's just
another
the same old. It's even if it's a Batman film, I'm like, it's gonna be the same suit to a certain degree, same continuity, same Batmobile kind of sort. Of course, they can always trot in different Batmobiles, but the fan in me is like, I want to, go through that. Who's going to be the next Batman? What's the suit going to look like? Who's going to be Alfred? Who's going to be the supporting players? Who's going to be all that stuff? But, I'm just one person. That's just my take on it.
What is your prediction? Just a prediction right now. What's going to happen with this? Is Affleck in? Is the content? Obviously, if he's in, the continuity is the same.
My prediction, and this is a prediction,
because there's three. Affleck's in, continuity's the same. There is a soft reboot with a new actor playing Batman, but it's still the supporting character, still in the same universe. Henry Cavill's still Superman, or it's a complete reboot altogether. Which one of those three is more likely?
I would think. Wow. I don't think Affleck's coming back. I think take that off the table. Then you're down to, do you completely reboot this, or do you do a soft reboot? Do you Batman Forever it, if you will? I think Reeves signed on to make his Batman movie. He wants to cast his Batman. He wants to cast his Batman family, and use bring in his production designer and make Gotham and everything look like the Gotham he wants it to look like. If I'm betting money, I'm putting it that it's its own thing, and there's not going to be any tie-in to anything that came before or that runs concurrently with it. That's my prediction.
Do you think it's possible that there is Matt Reeves Batman that is exactly like you just said, and the Affleck Batman still existing, popping up in some of these? Would they do that?
No, I don't think they'd do that.
I know they'll do it for
you just
television,
cut bait and run. Yeah, this is different. It's film. Look, Wonder Woman is set during the Cold War '80s. There's going to be it's going to be its own thing.
Is that confirmed? I know we speculated about that. Is Patty Jenkins confirmed?
I have not heard Patty Jenkins say that, but even the trades are even reporting it's a period piece. So I will take it. I'll take that as almost confirmation. Aquaman. Look, James Wan signed on because he wanted to do his own thing, and for all intents and purposes, that's what it is. I don't see them alluding back to Justice League. I could be wrong. I don't see them because it seems like it's more of an origin story. It's more like Wonder Woman, which I don't think they're going to bookend it. Let it be its own thing too. So
it'll be the events that transpired prior to B versus S anyway.
Look, make these films. Forget about BBS and Justice League, and as you go, you don't have. Look, make the film. You don't have to insert any. You don't build up to anything. Just make the film and go on. And then as time goes by, you're slowly soft rebooting this, and really almost completely rebooting as we go along. You know what I mean?
Sure. One thing that has changed for me is that I assumed, and this was strictly based off just history and the way the industry works and what's toxic and what people have to walk away from and what have you, because studios course correct from far less reactions than let's say BVS and Justice League got.
Yeah.
Where I'm going with this is Henry Cavill's Superman.
Yeah.
I assumed that he was done because, again, I can go back to Brandon Routh, Superman Returns. I can go back to Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern. We can do this all day long. When something just isn't quite working, a studio doesn't keep going at it. The fact that he has now been in 3 films, and I thought, well, he's unfortunately done, and it looks like he may not be done. So they may be taking a chance with that and saying, risk versus reward. Quite honestly, it would be more difficult to recast this. Let's just try to make this work. And I just kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel that way too about this? You think Cavill's going to come back? So if that's the case, then why is that not applicable to
I know
to Affleck?
I get what you're saying. Well, look, let's be honest. Cavill is in his early 30s. He's got if wanted, he has several Superman films left in him. Right?
Right.
Ben Affleck is 45, which there's nothing wrong with being 45 or in your 40s.
I'll be 43 next week.
Okay? And that's not my point. I'm not saying he's too old for the role, but he's 45 years old. He will be closer to 50 than 40 by the time Matt Reeves' film comes out. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're looking
2 years, 3 years.
We're looking at least minimum two. We're looking at 2020 minimum.
He'll be 47 years old.
Minimum. Okay? And if Reeves wants to make, let's say he wants to do a trilogy like Nolan, or not, screw like Nolan phrase. He wants to make a trilogy. That's not exclusive to Nolan and the Dark Knight trilogy either. Star Wars, for example. But are you going to go with a Batman that's, dude, he'll be in his mid-50s by the time this thing concludes. And let's forget about the chronology and the age thing. Does Ben Affleck want to keep doing this for another 8-10 years?
Right.
I mean,
and I could also imagine, and I may regret saying this out loud, but I think that casting Superman is probably a lot more difficult than casting Batman. I'm not taking away from what an actor brings to the table to play Bruce Wayne and Batman at all. I'm just saying that Superman's never in a mask. It's always him.
He's got to look like Superman.
He's got to look like Superman. He has to be Clark, and he has to be Superman. And yes, an actor has to be Bruce and Batman. And what Bell did with his eyes, and Keaton for that matter, and his voice, all those things matter. But it just seems like Superman is, because you don't escape the actor playing Superman. He's there the whole time looking at you. And I just feel like it's probably a little bit more difficult. And I think it's a more difficult character to play, and just my personal.
Let me ask you this: Couldn't there be a true sequel to Man of Steel made now without any reference to BVS or Justice League? You just make the film you bring back Cavill, Amy Adams, and all, that crew. And it's a Superman film, what should have been done anyway after Man of Steel, and just make that film and move on. And just, like I said, just.
Does that mean Jimmy Olsen? Does that mean Jimmy Olsen's alive?
Jimmy Olsen's alive. Yeah. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? You just make the film. I think Cavill can come back as Superman, and you don't have to be going, well, you were dead at one time. Screw all that. Just make the movie. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just don't talk about it. Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to think if there's anything in B versus S that would just have to be addressed, or Justice League for that matter, but not really. I mean, why even talk about him dying, I guess his resurrection?
The Clark thing, you buried Clark Kent. and had a freaking funeral for him with an open casket in Smallville.
What I would say to that is this. You're right. That's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. But if you want to get technical, at the end of Justice League, he's Clark again. Yeah. His glasses are on, his trench coat, and he opens his shirt, we got that iconic moment with Henry, which is awesome.
Do they have to address it? How many? Well, this is my question: is how many people in the mainstream are really going to go, or really give a shit if there's a Superman movie with Henry Cavill and it's just status quo? He's Superman, he's Clark Kent, he's at the Daily Planet and all that. How many people are really going to go in the mainstream? Yeah, I thought the guy was dead, and how did they bury him in BVS, and all of a sudden now no one knows he's Superman? No one's going to care. Those people don't even think about that. Am I being too cavalier about that, Rick, or
are you being too cavalier? Okay, no, and again, like at the end of Justice League,
actually,
yeah, he was Clark again. And listen, one of the original sins, anyway, in Superman Returns, not to go down that rabbit hole, but is the fact that you had Clark and Superman gone at the same time for the same amount of time and come back at the same time. It's ridiculous, right? I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. And so why even kind of try to go there with this? You saw him at the end of Justice League as Clark. He's just back at work.
Yeah.
Whatever. Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
If there's some subtle reference or something someone alludes to or some wink on that, fine, what have you. I don't know. I don't know.
You know what? Bottom line is we shall see. There's a new sheriff in town at Warner Brothers in charge of DC on film with Walter Hamada.
Hey, I think I told you this before, right? I'm a huge Cheers fan and a huge Frasier fan. For all you young people out there that don't know either one of those shows, Google them both. But and Frasier was a very successful spinoff from a very successful sitcom. Well, when they split off Frasier, okay, in Cheers and many episodes, especially early on, Frasier referenced his father was either a professor or a scientist. I can't remember, something like that, something that's intellectually driven, not blue collar, and he was dead, and then also that he had no siblings, right? So he had no siblings and a deceased father who was an intellectual. Then all of a sudden in Frasier, spinoff, same Frasier, moves to Seattle to have a radio show. He has a dad who's a retired cop, and he has a brother. And you just go, okay, well.
Yeah.
And, 2 or 3 seasons later, Ted Danson comes on Frasier, and they address it in 5 seconds, and it's sort of a funny little bit and a wink, and you're going, oh, well, at least they but, for 2 or 3 seasons, no one, just people. My point is this.
Yeah.
You can just kind of do it.
Yeah,
and it is what it is.
It is, exactly.
I know that's a weird analogy.
No, it's a good analogy. With this,
but those are very successful Emmy-winning shows, and they did it. So let's
Frasier this mofo, huh?
Frasier it. Just that's going to be our new thing. We're going to hashtag that. Just Frasier it.
Let's Frasier it. All right, I'm with you. Okay,
let's just spell Frasier right.
We're going to get out of here real quick. I brought this up on Twitter. And a lot of people were confused about, I don't know if they were confused. I thought I was pretty clear about what I was asking. Who is the best actor, as an actor, to play Batman? I
had to adjust my thing on that because, look, you say that, people say, well, who's your favorite Batman? Who's the best actor out of all those people? Quite honestly, dude, it's probably either Val Kilmer or Bell.
I agree. I said, excluding Robert Lowry and Lewis Wilson. I'm sorry, Robert Lowry, Lewis Wilson from the 40 serials. But, the live-action Batman, West to Affleck, who is the best actor? And I was clear. Some people, I had people going, I was like, come on. People were like, Kevin Conroy. Look, I love Kevin Conroy, but I just don't put him in. When you talking about the best Batman, we're talking about live action performances, and
all I can say is watch Tombstone.
Yes.
Watch The Doors.
Yes.
And the fact that Morrison didn't get an Academy Award nomination for The Doors is atrocious. Even though the movie was kind of atrocious, unfortunately, I'm a huge Doors fan. It was a waste of a great performance. But it's not about it being Best Picture. It was about being Best Actor. Dude. He was phenomenal.
Watch,
and
Watch Real Genius.
I'm serious.
I'm not kidding.
Top Secret.
Top Secret, yeah.
But then you go to Bell. Come on, man. What's the film he did with Mark Wahlberg where he played his? He was the boxer and he played his half brother that was on
The
meth.
Fighter.
The Fighter, dude.
He won an
Bell and
Oscar for that.
It's
Or he
phenomenal.
nominated. He won for that, didn't he?
I don't know. I don't keep up with the
Yeah.
Oscars. I only say with
He was
and,
the
you know
crackhead brother. Yeah.
and before anybody says, well, you just mentioned something about Val Kilmer not getting an Oscar. Yeah, no, that's when I started losing interest in the Oscars in like 1992 because it was bullshit.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I would say to me, Bell is the best.
Bell.
It's like circumcising a mosquito when you talk about the difference between after Bell for me, Kilmer, Clooney, and Keaton. I mean, Clooney's a hell of an actor too.
He is.
Syriana is great. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is fantastic.
Oh, dude, he's so good in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou.
Yes. Yeah.
Where Art Thou? Yes. So good.
I mean, it's like I can't really. Keaton, I mean, is a fantastic actor.
He
He is.
No, absolutely.
I mean, if you don't believe me, you go find and watch Night Shift, which I'm still is my favorite Batman. Favorite.
Go
Keaton
watch
film.
The Paper.
The
Go watch
Paper.
The Paper.
Yes.
Clean and Sober.
Clean and Sober.
Batman
Beetlejuice.
89.
Batman.
Dude.
All right. Before I have a coughing attack and really screw this show up, I apologize for my vocal performance today and everything that came with these damn allergies. Let's plug some stuff. Rick, go ahead.
Follow me on Twitter, ShewRick, ShewRick. And then later this week, me, Justin, and Ryan are going to do a solo show for our Star Wars Satellite episode. We may or may not have a guest on that. There's a lot of people we love talking Star Wars with, but you can only have so many people on per show, so we'll see. But anyway, we'll get that live Friday, so that'll be cool.
Looking forward to that. I've not seen Solo yet. I'm going to see it either today or tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah, go support it. It's not. I don't know what the numbers are today, but
Yeah.
it didn't do all that great on Friday. It may not ultimately do all that great. This may be the first financial. I don't think it's going to be a dud. I bet it still ends at 650, 700. But it looks like it's going to do Justice League numbers.
All right, and you can go to Batman Film Proper, read Rick's review, please, if you have not done so already. What else, Rick? Anything else? Batman on Film 20. Batman on Film 20 coming up, like I said.
Batman on Film 20. We've got some cool stuff up our sleeves for that. I'm coming down to Houston to interview you for a cool little mini documentary video tribute thing.
Are you coming down to interview me, or are you coming down so we can go drink beer?
Coming down to interview you so we can be in your office, so then we can go drink a lot of beer afterwards.
All right.
So this is one of those this or that questions. It's kind of like my beer and my whiskey. They're mutually they're mutually inclusive.
All right. So
interview and beer.
All right. So yeah, Batman on Film 20 is coming up. We got cool stuff coming. I know, like Rick said, there's stuff I don't know about that they're cooking up, and we got interviews and all kind of cool things. So, you know what? I'm very proud of that, Rick. Batman on Film 20. I'm not gonna lie. It's a big deal to me.
You should be.
It's a big deal to me. I'm 20
You got
years,
a new, you have a new site. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of contributors that are passionate about doing this. We have people that are emailing and texting me almost weekly, asking me hey, can I come on a show, talk to you about Star Wars, or talk about the White Knight, or whatever. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm proud of it.
It's really cool.
You can follow me on Twitter at Batman on Film, and
hey, let me just say this too. Can I say this real fast? Mm-hmm. So John Reagan, the artist that we've talked to and everything, he's mocked up the 1930s Jake Gyllenhaal Batman stuff. He actually talked to him on the phone this week.
Is that right?
Really cool. Yeah, really, really cool guy. And anyway, so he's a really cool guy, and we were talking, and he was just telling me, he's like, man, I've been a Batman on Film fan since the Nolan movies and everything. He said, I've always loved it. He goes, but what you guys are doing right now, don't change a thing. And it was just one person's opinion, but it just made me feel good. He goes, I love the banter. I love how you guys just are inclusive with people. And that he goes, you guys are just cool guys shooting the shit about Batman and other things you love. And I thought, you know what? That's what it's all about right there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. The little Facebook discussion group, private group, is a really, I mean, you've been to message boards, and they're cesspools of shit. I mean, I'm just, to be honest, they're ridiculous. I mean, go look at Reddit, for Christ's sakes. It's terrible. But we have, it's, you know, it's not a huge group. There's, I don't know, 400, 500 people maybe are in it. But it's very respectful and thoughtful discourse, and there's no nonsense. So if you're on Facebook and you want somewhere safe to go and talk about Batman with fellow Batman fans without all the BS that you're going to put up with at other places, just hunt us down. You'll see it on Batman on Film proper. It says fan discussion group. Go there, and we'll okay you and talk some Batman. All right. So with that said, we're going to get the hell out of here. Batman on Film, authoritative, definitive,
and the dad gum original.
All right, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for watching and listening.
Bye-bye.